All right, good evening. We are going to be going over percentages real quick. And anytime I'm dealing with percentages, I need to remember the percent proportion. Part over whole equals percent over 100. That will work on any percentage problem anytime. Let's look at number one. There are 200 end of the year school dance tickets available. Students have perfect attendance are able to purchase them in advance. If 18 tickets were purchased in advance, then what percent of the tickets were purchased in advance? And again, since I know I'm dealing with percent, I'm going to go to that proportion. Part over whole equals percent over 100. My whole is the 200 tickets. My part is the 18 tickets. I do not know my percentage, so I'm going to use a variable and put it over 100. And then I am going to cross multiply. So I get 200x equals 1800. I've got to isolate the variable. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to use the opposite, which is to divide. So I have x equals 9. So C is my answer choice there. Number 2 says a survey shows 85%. Okay, so they're 85%. I'm going to think about that percent proportion of students carry a backpack to school. If there are 320 students, how many carry a backpack? So part over whole equals percent over 100. I've got my percent, which is 85. It always goes with 100. I've got to decide what 320 is, and since there are 320 students in the school, that's all of them. So I'm looking for this. So when I cross multiply, I'm going to get 100 times x equals, let me figure this out, 0.0272. All right. And I want to isolate the variable, so I'm going to draw my line. This is multiply. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to divide by 100. So x equals, and since I both of them end in 0, I can just cross those out. X equals 272. J is my answer. Number 3. A flock of sheep has 182 white sheep, 92 spotted sheep. Which proportion can be used to determine P, the percent of the flock that has spots? Okay. So I got to pick a proportion. I know part over whole equals percent over 100. So I'm going to set up my proportion and then see if any of these match. My part is going to be my spotted sheep because that's what it tells me, 98. My whole is going to be, well, it's 182 white sheep and 98 spotted sheep, so we have to add those together. And we get 280 when we add those together. We're going to put the variable, which is the unknown percent, over 100. And now I don't have to solve it. I just have to see which of these line up this way. So my P and my 100, my 98 and my P, 100 and 280, 98 and 280. So let's see. Percent and 100, that lines up. Percent and 98, that lines up. 98 and 180, oh, that does not line up. A is not the answer. Percent and 100 lines up. 182, oh no, that's not it. Because we don't have 182, we have 98. So 280 to 182, that's not what mine looks like. So that's wrong. D says 98 to 280, which is what we have. Percent to 100, which is what we have. 98 to percent, yes. And 280 to 100. D is your answer. It will not always look exactly like this. It could be flipped around. It could have also been to 100 equals 98 over 280. There are a number of ways that this could have been written where it would have been correct. It would have lined up correctly. Let's move on. Number 4. Which of the following points on the number line best represents 5/8? Well, I've got a number line with 0 to 1, and I need there to be 8 points between 0 and 1. I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I need 8. I'm going to split each one of those in half. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's roughly in half. I know it's not exact, but that's okay. So we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then the 1 would be 8/8. So it looks like point B is my winner. Okay, you just got to make sure you have the number of increments has to match the denominator. So there have to be 8 of those in this one. Number 5, we have a hundreds grid. I'm going to look at my columns because I've got full columns, which means I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And that's not a full column, so that's 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 85%. I'm going to go back and look at my question because it didn't really matter until I figured out what that was. What number does the model represent? 85%. Not an answer choice. But I do know if it's 85%, it's not 75%. And if I turn this into a decimal, it would be 0.85. So if it's a decimal, it can't be 0.80. So now I have to reduce. And I know percent means out of 100, so 85 over 100. And both of my remaining choices have 20 as the denominator. I know that 100 divided by 5 is 20. So I'm going to divide 85 by 5, and that's going to give me 17. So A is my answer. If you don't know that 100 divided by 5 is 20, you can just start reducing by things that you know and can see, and eventually you will get to the correct answer. Mr. Dorado has completed 75% of his morning run. Which of the following sets does not represent 75%? Well, let's see. So 75% equals 0.75, which equals 3/4. So if we're looking at not, that already does and that does. So F is not the answer. 0.75 does. So G is not the answer. 7.5 doesn't. And 9/12 doesn't. Neither one of those do. That's the answer. Because even though 75/100 does, 9/12 does not. So H is your answer on that question. If the shaded strip diagram represents 100%, then which strip diagram represents 150%? Well, let's see. So 100% equals 6 out of 6. You may not be able to see that. There's actually lines right here. Okay, they're nicer than mine, but now you can see them. So 100% equals 6 out of 6. 100% plus 50% equals 150%. This is a different way of looking at it, but since I've got two separate things on most of these, I've got my 6 out of 6, and I've got 50% of that, half of that would be 3 out of 6. And if you wanted to find the total, that would be 9/6. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7/6. That's not it. I've got 3/6. Here I've got 9/6, which is exactly what we said. And this one doesn't work because we've got 6th here, and we've got 4/7 there. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or not, but the answer is C. On a spelling test, Marcy got 3/8 of the questions incorrect. Which of the following sets best represent the questions Marcy got incorrect? She got 3/8 incorrect. Looks like I need to figure out percent and decimal, so I'm going to top dog in the house. 8. 8 does not go into 3. I'm going to erase the division when I'm done. 3, 24, 6, 7, 56, 4. So my answer is 0.375. I'm going to erase all that division that I did. And some of you actually know that. You didn't have to do the math. And if you don't know that, it's a good one to remember. And it also and then if I turn that into a percentage, if I move my decimal twice, it's 37.5%. So let's start with those. So 37.5% works. 3.75 does not. 3.75% does not, and 37.5%. So I'm looking at 15/40ths and 6/8. 6/18ths, I'm sorry. So I need to see if 6/18ths is equal. Since I have an equal sign here, I can cross multiply. 18 times 3 is 54. 8 times 6 is 48. Those are not equal. And just to double check, I'm going to do 3/8 equals, no, that's not it, 15/40ths. 15/40ths, and see, when I cross multiply, 40 times 3 is 120. 8 times 15 is 120. So 15/40ths works. J is your answer. Number 9. The shaded area represents the pieces of tile installed in a hallway. What percent of the hallway has not been installed with tile? Okay, so we've got to figure out how many boxes we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 20 boxes and 13 shaded. I'm going to set up a proportion. This is going to be my percent, and this is out of 100. 13 is the part that's shaded, 20 is the whole. I'm going to erase my percent sign, and I'm going to put an X there, and now I'm going to cross multiply. 20x equals 1300, and I'm going to draw my line and divide by 20. So x equals 20 goes into 136 times. 65%. And the last problem that we have is Paul earned 56% on her science test. Okay, percent is going to always put me in the percent proportion mindset. If she got 14 problems correct, how many questions were on the test? We'll start with my percent, 56 out of 100. 14 correct. She didn't get them all correct, so that's not all of them. And this is our unknown, and then we're going to cross multiply. So we get 1400 equals 56 times x. We draw our line, we divide, and top dog gets the house. 56. Okay, so these are not simple numbers, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 5 goes into 14 twice, so we're going to try that too. 12, 111, we're going to subtract that. So that's 8, 28, bring that down. 56 goes into 280. Let's say 5 goes into 28 5 times. Carry the 3. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 3 is 28. The answer is 25 problems. That's all the time I've got. Hope you guys have a good afternoon.